Welcome back everyone to the Railroad Challenge. I came over here in hopes of either starting my zombie farm or continuing the railroad, and it looks like I ran into somebody along the way. Hello. Ooh, he's a villager and he's selling some stuff. And 5 emeralds for a nautilus shell. I think I've got tons of nautilus shells and no hearts of the sea, so that's not going to be too useful for me. Ferns. Yeah, right. Purple dye. I don't think I've got all that great need of purple dye. Red sand. That would have been useful if I were building the railroad down on the other end. I could just dump a lot of emeralds and get some red sand to go on the... And that would have meant I would have had less need of grabbing red sand when I was down near the Badlands. But that's no longer the case. Cyan dye. Well, I've got plenty of green dye. Blue I don't have all that much since I don't have much access to cornflowers at the moment, but yeah. Bucket of tropical fish. Yeah, alright. Not particularly liking any of your trades, I'm afraid. But that's one of the new features in the latest snapshot. We have this wandering villager, wandering merchant who could trade you stuff. And he spawned right inside of my railroad system. Actually, that's a little bit of a problem, I think, because that means this is obviously a legal spawning area for them. And if that's legal spawning area for them, does that mean it's also going to be a legal spawning area for illagers? I suppose it's possible he could have spawned up here and then wandered down here. Yeah, well, let's not mess with him, and we certainly don't want to mess with his llamas because they'll spit on you if you do that. But I was thinking about that dungeon down there, and I'm not particularly keen on any of the ideas I was getting. I'm trying to think of how will I handle that particular dungeon, easiest way to kill them. I said, oh well, I could just put them in a small area and drop them down. Yes, I could combine them into a tight space and have them smother each other to death. Yes, I could. Those two I can get working. The other ideas I was coming up with, like, for example, using a nether rose. Yeah, that means, of course, killing the nether to do that. I think that's sort of outside the scope of this particular series. So what's the thing on that? So since I was having trouble with all that, I was thinking, well, let's just come back here and continue along this way and build our little railroad bed across the swamp where we're going to have a little bit of a causeway. And apparently I've decided to build this as if it were a bridge. I suppose that makes some sense there. So let's try that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with the... actually, I don't really want to go out like in a bridge pattern like that. Better idea, I think, will be to use stairs. In some ways, it's going to be similar to what I was thinking of doing then. The reason for stairs is if you have water runoff, then the water will run off there into the swampy area. Because this is going to go by the assumption that it's going to be raining here and all that. And the other ends that I was doing, we didn't really have to worry about water all that much, since we rarely have a rain in the desert. I know in Minecraft you don't have it at all. So I think that will be a better... that will be a better pattern. And that's the way we are going to have it going. And I can still do my semi-archway thing underneath as we go along. Let's start with that and head all the way across. See how far we could do that. And I think underneath I will occasionally have little arches here for support there. I could leave that as is, I think. But over here, for example, I could have a little arch there. I have to decide what I'm going to do as I go along. Now here, things are going to be a little bit different. And this is where things are going to be tricky, because I'm going to be using gravel here, because I'm going to assume that we're going to have a bedding where any rainfall will fall through it. Now, unfortunately, we have this area right here. Now, I wonder... if I do that, could I get the gravel to stay up? Ha! Well, that answers that question. Nope, daisy. Since the lily pads take up the space in question, obviously we can't use that. Guess that means dirt then. We'll have to just fill in the underside with dirt. And that way we can have the gravel on top of that. It's not exactly what I was planning to do, but always have a few little changes in plan as you are trying to build in a new environment. And that means doing that all the way across here. I did say I was building a causeway, and I guess you would bring it down with some material down beneath it. I want something... I'm hoping... I want something porous. I'm hoping I'm right in thinking that would be the best thing to do here. No. Got this tree here that's in an annoying position. There you go. And hear the wonderful sound of vines breaking. Where'd that apple go? Oh, there you go. And just clear this out. Ooh. I'm getting... That's an apple-rich tree there. But I'll take this all the way down here. I went back to base and came back, and I noticed our friends here are still around, which means that leaving the area where they spawn does not cause them to despawn any or anything like that. I've heard that they despawn over a given amount of time and eventually will disappear, later on another one coming in. But it does look like that he doesn't automatically disappear if you leave the area, which is good, because that means if you run into one, see a trade that you do like, you can go back to base or something, pick up some emeralds, and come back and be able to continue on with that. But what I need to do is continue on with my little session here so that I can get all the way across. Still more to do, and another tree is in my way. Well, the hope is that this will all clear itself out by the time I get down there. I've made it to the next spot of land. Unfortunately, the next little pond is right here where I'm going to have my station. This is where we'll have our little interchange and connection. And this is really inconveniently placed because, well, first off, we have this tree here, but that's the easy one to deal with. Can you... There you go. So the tree is easy to take care of. I have to decide what I want to do here. Maybe I could turn it into a feature of the station, have platforms and the like in order to keep the area supported, and make this a little fishing spot along the way. So that could be our little feature here. We're stopping here because we have a nice convenient fishing pond. Perhaps that's a more dangerous and open fish. I don't know. I have trouble coming up with excuses why you skip all that water and you leave this little fishing hole here, but the rules say you put them where the calculations say to, and this is 0, 5, 12, and that's where we'll have to build our little station. Now the other inconvenience, other than this, which we could turn into a fishing spot, is of course the hill. This is starting to rise up here. Here's our level up here, so we are 1, 2 up. Do we flatten this out? Which is one option, and the other option is to start going up the hill. Now going up the hill, at least it's a slow climb this time around instead of a fast one, but then it has this quick drop down right here. That one's easy to cover up probably. Oops, I need to go right around here. And all the way down here towards the third station, and everything is about the same as on the other end. Occasional bits and bobs of water where I have to take care of myself, and similar situation over here is when we get over here, things are going to become probably another good place for another causeway here, and that's going to end us right in that dark oak forest. Now it looks like by the time I get there we're going to be getting pretty close to our termination, so I'll probably use the oak all the way down to here, down to the station. That means two regions of oak that I'll have to have. And then here I've got dark oak and birch, so I don't have to worry about using oak plus dark oak. It'll probably be oak plus birch for the final area, because we have plenty of that stuff here. But I think that this is going to be really close to the third station, so I think it's between the third and fourth stations where I will have all of my dark oak. But that's a little bit off before I have to worry about that. I know I do have oak available. Oh boy, that's going to be a real fun spot in there. Yeah, I'm not too far in before we get to the third intermediary station. Right now we are needing to go back to the second one. I'm wondering what happened to the merchant. I had assumed that he had despawned when I didn't see him when I came across recently, but I still see a pair of llamas around here, and I assumed that his llamas would also have despawned with him. That could be a bug, in which case I've got a couple of pack llamas. Hello. Ooh. I guess I'll need to tame them first, right? How do you tame a llama? I'll have to figure that out at some point if they're still around. But that could be useful to have a couple of llamas if I can learn to lead them properly. And I think leading means getting some leads. Obviously I have at least one because I have a horse tied up to a lead, and if I'm brave enough to stay out around the night, I presume a slime or three will pop up around this area. In fact, since I'm setting up a station over here, I could, of course, set up a rest area, as I usually do at these areas. Set up there overnight, and I'm sure that staying up overnight a little bit, maybe some of those slimes will pop up and it'll all be fun. And I think they even pop up underground, because I occasionally hear underground slimes that are way too high in order to be from a chunk. So that's one idea I've got on that matter. But back to here, I think that I'm probably just going to use a flatten out the area, and that's what I'm going to do going down there rather than attempting to go up and down the hill. If it weren't for the inconvenient location of the station, I probably would have gone up and down the hill, but we're in swamp territory. I'll just assume that this ground is rather too soft and that we decide to instead go across there. So that's what I'll do. Now at some point I'm going to have to transition from the gravel into the station area. What's the best way of doing it? Maybe build the station first. So I know I'm going to flatten things out. First I'll flatten, then I will decide exactly what I'll do station-wise. Didn't I reject the idea of using stairs here before? I believe so, and it was because of the interaction with the fences. But rather than rejecting them altogether, what I was thinking of doing instead is I will use a block here, and then whenever I have one of these posts, that'd be at 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How'd that get backwards? I'll probably still have the old item. There we go. 7 and then 8 there, I believe. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right. So whenever I have a fence post, I will have a block instead of a stairs, and that's where we have the support for the fencing. We still have the fencing. It's not as well supported over the stairs, but then we do have the outlet for the water to filter out into the swamp, and that's the idea I have. So whenever I have a post, I'll just have a block there for support for the fencing. I guess the merchant just leaves without his llamas, so let's try to tame a few llamas here. Now that's something I haven't tried before. This guy has a lot of hearts. Too bad you can't ride them once you finish taming them. But we'll see how that goes. I guess eventually it goes. I guess you can feed them, right, in order to improve their temper? Well, there is that. Oh, that's not what I want to do. Let's see. You need... How do you interact with them afterwards? Oh, you put in a chest here, I will oh, no, that's where you put the carpet. Here is the... That can't be the llamas in, but this guy has no inventory? They don't have... Or maybe they don't... Of course, they had to have inventory, right? And why would you bother... Why would the trader bother having all those llamas if they didn't have any inventory? Well, we'll see how it goes. Well... Once I do this, I could try a little caravan. Alright, good. Now, let's try a lead onto this one. And I believe that if you lead one, you should lead both. Where? Oh, here's the other llama. Hello. Yeah, thank you. Follow the line. Well, it's the first time in the game where I have bothered trying to work with llamas, so I don't know exactly how well they work. Now, if I'm going to have a little lava train here, I'm lava train? Llama train. Alright, there you go. I may have to do something. Oops. Where'd the other one go? There you go. Now, what happened to... Looks like the other one got lost a little bit. Yeah, alright. Llama trains don't necessarily work on long areas like this. Now, I want here... Right, because that's my inventory. Where would the llama inventory go? Well, I don't know. Let's have him join his buddy over down here. What happens if I try to give one a chest? Ah, okay. That's what happens. Now, this one then has 6. Alright, good. And this one has... Wait, either they both have 6 or I stepped on the same one twice. Alright, yeah, they have 6 each. Alright, good. A little bit extra storage that can travel along with me, and fortunately, not exactly the most convenient animal to move around, especially once I get things all filled in here. But that's it for today's episode. Next time, we will start on the station right over here and get this connected to that. I think I'll start with the station first, have its basic layout, and then I could engineer the connection. I'm probably going to incorporate a little fishing hole here so that I can fish while I'm waiting for things to happen. And maybe I could try to spawn a few slimes, though the tricky thing is that while swamps are wonderful places for getting slimes, they're also wonderful places for getting creepers, and I hate creepers. We'll see what exactly I do in the next episode of the Railroad Challenge.